aliens
Alright, everyone, I'm here with
abducting
Austin.
people.
We're talking about aliens. I was talking about Hellier. I made a map. I was trying to connect some lines, places from Hellier. And I just watched the recent episode. They're talking about ferries and places that are named after ferries, like Fayetteville, Arkansas, Georgia, Lafayette, Tennessee, Fayette County, Kentucky. I'm trying to make a map and draw a bunch of lines and like connect things. But then we started talking about alien UFOs. I'm trying to figure out this alien case. There was a UFO in Florida that was spotted, and 3 different police agencies tracked it north to a mountain and it disappeared into that mountain. I was trying to find out what that mountain was to put it on my map. And then he started telling me about this missing 411. What's that podcast you said? Who does this podcast?
I'm not sure it's so much of it's like a audio book of the author. I think he's reading it.
Rebel Scum Radio. It's on YouTube. So this is supposed to be true stuff, though, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be all
It's not
true.
like,
He went around and did his research, and he talked to like people from the FBI and stuff. Even people from the FBI were telling him to stop researching about it.
So there's like several different cases just on this one podcast.
Yeah,
And
so
I found something about
411 missing people. That's what.
Yeah, we were talking about this cult of like 100 people in Colombia were trying to get abducted by UFOs, kind of like Heaven's Gate cult, and they went missing. So either they actually got abducted by UFOs, or who knows what happened. Because if there's 100 people dead out in the woods, you'd think there'd be, I don't know, a crazy amount of animals eating them, or some kind of like identifiable way to see the 100 people. I mean, how do you? If you got 100 people, you got like a village. You could start. How do you even die if you got 100 people? I guess when they went west, like the Pilgrims, they had like a bunch of people got wiped out. But let's see if I can get my screen to show.
Like the one up there, that's just like random staircases in the woods.
Yeah, we start talking about random staircases. So let's talk about that. Tell me about it.
Well, I watched a few videos about it, and the weirdest thing is you'll see them like in the Google search. Like if you just scroll through or click through different ones. I don't know if some are photoshopped, but they might be photoshopped because this stuff got like kind of popular when people were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the gist of it is, in the 411, he talks about interviewing people from the forestry department who were told that they would be fired if they were going to talk about this kind of stuff.
Is this different national parks or just a certain park?
Yeah, different national parks, like across the country, all told to like shut up about this kind of stuff. You can joke about like Bigfoot and things like that, but then when it comes to like the other stuff in the forest, like people would see weird apparitions or whatever, and it would be like, sometimes people think it's like mystical creatures, but the main thing that stuck was that all of these different national parks, people would have stories of seeing these like staircases that would be there for a couple months and then they disappear, and then they come back. And sometimes when people would go up the staircases,
So they'd have seizures, or their lifespan would be shortened somehow. Like, how would they know if your lifespan was shortened?
I don't know exactly, but there was a few other cases of like a lady walked to the top of it, and then she said that all of the birds and like all the noises in the forest disappeared, and everything went completely silent.
Oh shit, dude! I know what it is. I think, like we were talking about, like teleportation or like changing dimensions, right? Like there's a world behind our world, right?
Yeah,
So
multiple different dimensions laid on top of each other or something.
So we talk about, or people talk about like portals. Like when I read these time travel books, like the one I was reading, or it was like it wasn't time travel, it was like changing dimensions, but like the other dimension was slightly different because different butterfly effects happen in the past. It makes the ground a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So every time he'd go to a different dimension, his shoes would kind of be stuck in the dirt like an inch or so. So you think about, like, if you teleported back in time, we wouldn't be on Earth. We would be where the Earth was back then in space, and we'd be out in the middle of space somewhere. You couldn't teleport from one spot on Earth to another spot on Earth because the Earth's moving through space all the time, right?
So you had to have a machine that has the coordinates and everything set up.
Like if we play a video game, we assume like if there's going to be a portal or a door, it's going to be on the ground, but not true. It could be in the middle of fucking space, like in the Langoliers in that Stephen King short story. The plane flies through a portal back in time, like a few seconds. So it was in midair. So if somebody finds a portal in midair, they have to build a staircase to it. It's not going to be connected to a house or a structure or anything because they're just trying to get to that portal. And if you get high enough where your head is in, like this other head space, it's in a different kind of a realm, then you're not going to hear the sounds that's in the old realm because that's just where your feet or maybe the bottom of your body is at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. In the story, they talked about how, or in the accounts, they talked about how a lady reached outwards to grab like a branch or something because she was going to, like, the staircase wasn't very tall. So she was just going to step off the other side. And when she did that, seemingly like she got cut by something. It wasn't there. Like something invisible cut her. And it was a deep enough cut, but she had to get like medical attention or she was going to like bleed to death. So unless there's like a fucking razor sharp wire they didn't see at the top of that staircase.
Some of these are just like staircases so you can get up a hill easier. Or it looks like it's going into a tree, so like it's maybe part of a tree stand used to be or something. Or like this one here though.
Some of these, weird. This one, I don't know what that one is. I guess it depends what you're looking at. Like, if you maybe typed in like strange or like, I guess you had mysterious or something.
Isolated maybe.
Yeah, maybe isolated.
Like that one?
Yeah, I don't know. See, it just doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it's like a lookout or something.
Yeah, it kind of looks like something we'd make in DayZ just to snipe people with or something.
Just to snipe people, yeah, it's like a real life version of that. Now, I don't know if like, if you go on YouTube, there's videos about it, but it's usually like creepypastas.
You know what it kind of reminds me of is that magician show where they're actually using magic and shit. Like, if you made, let's say you had the ability to make a portal into like a bank vault and you couldn't close the portal, so you had to leave it open. You would put it somewhere like in midair and build a staircase. Like you would walk to the top of your stairs, go into the bank vault, get all the money out, leave, and then you maybe not bother taking the staircase down. I mean, that's probably not smart because anybody could just come along, but you'd have time to get away. I don't know.
Like that, I guess. Well, that's kind of the thing. Is like sometimes these staircases supposedly just disappear.
Is this
where they were?
That looks kind of photoshopped.
Looks like Photoshop.
This one here seems to be the most popular one because I think this is.
Seems to be. It might have been used in a thumbnail for like the video or something. Now this might be all bullshit, but it's weird to think all these fucking people report these weird staircases.
And you're saying the National Forestry Service is not allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, and they're not allowed to talk about it. You can talk about Bigfoot and seeing like leather skins or like other mystical bullshit out there, but then when it comes to these staircases, you're not allowed to talk about it.
But the people that are just like going to the woods, going to the forest,
they don't even know that no one's. Yeah, they don't even know.
They can't tell them not to go up the staircase because they can't talk about the staircase. It's like Fight Club.
Yeah. Talk about Fight Club.
So if they just happen to go up it and vanish, and there's people missing in the woods, like, nah, they probably went up that damn staircase.
Yep. So it's like maybe there's portals. This all we're talking about before this about like there's like fairy stuff, right? And so fairies aren't actually nice creatures. If you go back to like the mythology of Europe,
they're like tricksters.
They're all tricksters. They eat. Like, tooth fairies would actually eat your teeth.
Oh, shit. I didn't think about that.
Remember,
that's why you had to pay them, or they would pay you to buy your teeth.
They would essentially buy your teeth from you,
Kind of like when you make a deal with a crossroads demon or something. It's like a
That was kind
contract.
of the sweet fairy tale version. The other one was like they'd come through your window at night and be hungry because they want to eat. Like they literally eat your teeth and then would rip your teeth out of your mouths. And like that's why you have to keep your window closed at night. So a lot of these old fairy tales that are like they seem nice. They're like the Brothers Grimm. All of those are like based off of.
All
Oh,
right.
did you made a pentagram or a star or something?
Yeah, so I've been watching Hellier again. In the new episode, they found something that led them to Stillwater, Minnesota. And they went to Mount Shasta, California for something. I can't remember all the reasons they went to these places or how they made the connections. But, like, that's really far away. And it went through Mount Shasta. I think I made my line wrong. Or maybe they didn't make it account for the curvature of the Earth. But I went from Hellier to Mount Shasta, and I thought that went through something. If I move.
There's also a lot of these weird places in the national parks that people go missing are all have devil in the name. Devil's Throat,
Devil's Gorge,
Peak,
that kind of thing.
Devil's
It's like Devil's
Overlook.
Castle.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, so if you draw a line from Hopkinsville, which is where the Kelly alien attack happened in that farmhouse, there was like 12 people in a farmhouse, and they shot at these aliens. They were trying to get in their house, and like the police came. There's bullet holes in their doors and shit. It's like one of the most documented cases. And that runs by Cave City, which was another place, which is where Mammoth Cave National Park is. Somerset, which is where they did a bunch of experiments with the pan, the fairy thing. And then to Hellier. There's a line that connects all of those. And there's also a line that connects... Oh shit, I moved my whole pentagram. Point Pleasant, Ashland, which was in the documentary, and Somerset. I think they also drew lines from some of the people's houses that were involved with it. So I had the idea that if Fayette or Fayetteville means like fairy village, villa, Fayette, it's like fairy city. If you look at all the different Lafayettes, or that's like French for the Fayette. What does Fayette mean? Small fairy? The small fay? Something like that? What does et mean?
Well, law means like
The?
the.
Yeah, so
Like,
Lafayette, Indiana, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fayetteville, Georgia, Lafayette, Tennessee. And I try to like I thought it was going to make a circle with Somerset in the middle, because the ferries are supposed to have like ferry circles, and that would have made a lot of sense. But I kind of ended up making a pentagram. But I guess you could, like, if I draw more lines, just like connecting everything. I mean, now I'm making a pentacle, sort of. Not really though. It's more like a house. And then that's a thing. This whole area right in here, though, it seems like everything seems connected a little bit. Pikeville. They said there's something about like names of power, like Pike and Parsons. One thing I can't figure out is like he's supposedly like David Christie was the guy that originally emailed him about Hellier, but he was changing the name to protect his identity or something. So he said that wasn't his real name, but then he said something about these names of power or something about Christ, and he said that stuck out to him because Christie was that guy's name, but I thought he didn't use his real name. So maybe his last name really was Christie, but his first name really wasn't David. But then they found something else. I think
David's
they found
a biblical name as well.
they found the guy's real name that was supposed to be David Christie. I think it was David M. Parsons. So if that was his real name, his first name couldn't have been David. He must have like still been changing the David part. But then like they found Parsons on the ground, and that made a connection to him. So Christie and Parsons must be like the real names of this guy. And they also named some creeks near Somerset that all this weird stuff people were claiming was happening. And Halebridge Road, I think Halebridge was one. Buck Creek's that one. Short Creek was one. See, I originally got into this a minute ago because I looked up Short Creek. Where was it? And I hope I don't get in trouble for this guy. I looked up Short Creek, Somerset, Kentucky. And you get like onlyinyourstate.com. Short Creek is the most stunning and beautiful place to visit, blah blah blah. Go down here. This guy actually lets you come onto its private property. And there's a big cave there. That's what they've been like researching. These are aliens that live in these caves that all connect to the Mammoth Cave system. And then you down to the bottom it says it's one of the most beautiful places that you must see before you die. Like you're going to die if you go there. That's not really a thing. But then Don Whitaker. During the 30s and 40s, my cousins by the dozens, it seemed, roamed these caves and rock formations, so there wasn't nook or cranny we didn't explore. Looking back to those days now just reinforced my decision to declare that they were the best time of my life. How lucky we were to have been born into a family who owned a fairyland. And then I clicked on his name to his Facebook profile. He's talking about he had coronavirus. He's laying here with pneumonia in both lungs. No one's here with me. It's sad. I'm amazed for all the support I've received. Thanks, I loved you all. I looked up his name, this town, and obituary. He died from coronavirus.